Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome to episode 3 of Decentering Men Strategies. So, in this series, this is a spin off to the Decentering Men series. So, in the first series, it's really about reasons why you should decenter men. I just try to give you more realistic talking points. I like to use a lot of articles and stuff, and I like to use a lot of statistics when I talk about why you should decenter guys. But this series is more so about practical things that you can do to rebuild your own self esteem outside of what a guy thinks of you. And this will help you to also combat any feelings of inadequacy, inferiority, if you're feeling loneliness or something like that. That's what this series is for. It's to help increase your mental health naturally without hinging your entire mental well being on whether or not a guy picks you, or whether or not you have a Valentine, or whether or not a guy wants to date you or likes you on a dating app. Because I see a lot of women who were coming on YouTube over the past decade or so, and they're talking about how, oh, nobody likes me on dating apps. They like XYZ girl better than me. They give all of these Instagram likes to these other girls. And so I've noticed a lot of women, they're so male centered to the point where their entire self-esteem, their entire perception of their beauty is only through the gaze of a male. And we all know that a lot of men are not faithful. A lot of guys tend to view women as objects for their physical pleasure and stuff like that. And so if you are basing your whole entire self-worth on a guy who is looking at something different every 5 seconds, then your self-esteem is only going to last for 5 seconds. But anyway, hopefully some of the things I talk about in this series will help you to increase your self-esteem. So one thing that I did as a part of my strategy to decenter men was I stopped listening to pick-me music. So I call it pick-me music. That's just a term I made up. I don't know what else to call it. So these are those slow jam R&B songs, or songs about how much you love a guy, how much you want a guy, just basically songs that kind of over romanticize a man's presence. So when I think of songs that are very male centered, I think of songs like, and I love these artists, no shade against any of these artists, but I think of songs like Brandy, Have You Ever? Like, have you ever loved someone so much it makes you cry? Have you ever needed someone so bad you can't sleep at night? So when I'm listening to songs like that, it makes me begin reminiscing, like, is there any guy that I've ever really liked that much? And oh, I wonder what he's doing right now. It causes my thought patterns in my brain to start focusing more on guys. Yes, that's right. The music that I listen to. A lot of people talk about how music influences you, and yeah, they're not making that up. Music does influence your mental state. That's why, people, when they're sad, they listen to sad music. When they're happy, they listen to happy music. It makes whatever mood you're in stronger. So I try not to listen to music that makes me in the mood to think about guys a lot, or to think about a guy not loving me or something. I also think about Brandy's song Sitting Up in My Room. Like, she's sitting in her room thinking about this guy. So she's not doing anything with her life. She's just sitting around thinking about a guy who is most likely outliving his best life with another woman. These are very male-centered songs, and a lot of women don't realize how deeply the socialization goes when it comes to centering your entire existence around a guy. And this is what opens women up to very bad, very one-sided, dusty relationships. It's because you're being subconsciously influenced by music that is talking about a guy picking you. Another Brandy song is coming to mind, The Boy Is Mine. Even that sort of music. I really like 90s R&B and stuff, if you guys haven't noticed. But no wonder a lot of Gen X women were such pick-me's, because listen to the types of music that was very popular back then. So one way to combat this male-centered thinking is, for me, I have actually cleaned out my playlist. And it doesn't mean that I can't play these songs every once in a while, but I have tried to clean out my playlist from songs that are extremely male-centered, like the whole song is about a guy, or the whole song is about begging a guy to come back, or it's all about some guy mistreating you or whatever. I think about Mary J. Blige's songs where she's like, 11 years of sacrifice and you leave me at the drop of a dime. She's talking about her life being male-centered. Me thinking about bad treatment from guys, that doesn't make me feel good. That doesn't make me in a good mood or anything. So it's like, why would I listen to that? So the types of music that I listen to now is I listen to music that kind of talks about other topics. So I'm just throwing out ideas here. I don't know every single lyric to all of these songs, but I think of songs like Miley Cyrus's Flowers, where she's kind of talking about how she can love herself better than a man can. And to be honest, that has been true for me as well. And I actually believe that that should be true for everyone. You should be able to love yourself better than anybody else can. And that's because you are the only one living in your head. You're the only one who knows the thoughts you're thinking. You know all of your feelings, you know all of your emotions, all of your traumas, and all that stuff, and how to heal them. And if you don't know how to heal them, I talk about that a lot on this channel. So you should be able to ultimately love yourself better than anyone else can. But that song Flowers, that's the type of music that I listen to now. Or I think of songs like Katy Perry's Firework, something where it's more like kind of empowering you and it's kind of more like self-centered, I guess. It's talking about positive qualities within yourself as opposed to, oh, I want to put my freakum dress on so this man can look at me, or all of these songs where it's about a woman kind of fighting with her boyfriend. Like, oh, even that song Freakum Dress by Beyonce, it's really about how she's fighting with her boyfriend. So now she's like putting her freakum dress on, and how, like, you know, her man has been acting up. And so now she's putting on her dress so she can go out and get attention from other guys in an attempt to emotionally manipulate the first guy into acting how she wants him to act. And obviously that's never going to work, because a lot of men, they'll operate based on what they want, not based on emotional manipulation. A lot of men are actually the master manipulators, not the women. So I have stopped listening to music that is all about, how I can get a man or what I'm doing to get a man or whatever. And I just tend to listen to music where it's more of a woman kind of like having confidence in the song. And even if the woman does mention men, it's not about like her trying to win a man over, or her trying to, like chase after a guy, or she's mad because a guy is like cheating on her and stuff. No, it's more so just about how beautiful she feels and how powerful she feels and stuff. So I try to listen to music that is a little bit more empowering in nature, or I'll listen to music that has nothing to do with relationships at all. Or if I am going to listen to music that is kind of like toxic, is what I call it. So some of my favorite artists sing very toxic music. So I love SZA, I love Summer Walker, but their lyrics are extremely toxic. So I try to keep in mind while I'm listening to it, like, this is toxic. I like the singing though. Another strategy that I used that really helped me on my decentering men journey was, there's this content creator or podcaster or author. It's called Charlie's Toolbox. So she has I think she has a YouTube channel and stuff too, but she also talks about this topic of like decentering men. So one strategy you can do is you can start watching other content creators. Some of my favorite content creators, they talk about decentering men. I've talked about who those content creators are over in the Patreon. But you can start listening to other women who tell their stories about like how much better their lives are, since they are no longer kind of chasing after the wind in terms of like romance. They're no longer chasing after the concept of this Prince Charming, or wishing and hoping and fantasizing about a guy. That's actually another strategy that I've used that has really helped me, is I no longer fantasize about guys anymore. So I used to, let's say I would start dating a guy, or there's some cute guy that's like texting me a lot and kind of showing interest in me. When I was younger, like a teenager or in my early 20s, I would start a whole entire fantasy in my mind. Like, okay, what would his last name sound like on mine? What would our kids look like? Is he my soulmate? Is he my twin flame? Is he the one I'm going to be with? Does he love me? Does he like me? I wonder if he's talking to other girls. What does he think about me? Do you see all of those racing thoughts that just came in just instantly? So one way that I have decentered men was to no longer allow any additional thoughts about a guy once he leaves my presence. I like to follow the rule, out of sight, out of mind with a man, whether he's a friend or, he's trying to talk to me or whatever. As soon as he leaves the room, or as soon as I am done texting or he's done texting me, I no longer create any additional thought patterns in my mind of, oh, I wonder what he thinks of me. I wonder what he's doing right now. Nope. I no longer even focus my mindset on a guy or what he's doing or what he's thinking. I stopped fantasizing about guys. I actually do not have crushes anymore, like in the sense of, you know how when you were a teenager, you would see a guy walking in the hallway or something and you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's my crush. And then you'd be all nervous around him, or your heart starts beating and, you don't know what to say and stuff, or you feel like, oh crap, I embarrassed myself around him, or you're wondering if he noticed you and you're kind of like, oh, did he look over at me? Or like, was he thinking about me? You're thinking all of these thoughts and almost projecting a fantasized version of this guy. You're projecting a fantasy version of him into your own mind, and you're kind of like viewing him in a different way. You're essentially putting him on a pedestal, is what I call it. So I no longer have crushes anymore because I no longer put guys on pedestals. So even if I am in a new scenario, let's say there's a guy who like looks nice or whatever, I don't make it into a crush. Like, oh, okay, well now I have a crush. Like I have actual emotions and feelings. Like I get excited when he's in the room now because he has a six pack, or I get excited when he's around me now because he is tall and he's white, or because he has money. I no longer have those feelings because I've realized that crushes are really only fun if the guy meets your standards, number one, and then he's crushing on you back. So one mistake I used to make, and it was not me being strategic at all, I used to make the mistake of having all of these crushes and kind of putting all of these emotional feelings and putting all of this energy into a guy who you don't even know that guy, or like maybe he doesn't even really know you. Maybe he doesn't know you exist. Even celebrity crushes and stuff. I don't spend my time thinking about XYZ celebrity guy who doesn't even know I exist. Like, who cares? A guy's attractiveness does not make him worthy of me putting him on a pedestal. I'm attractive myself. I believe that I am beautiful. And so a man's beauty, for lack of better words, or a man's attractiveness, that doesn't hold the same weight that it used to when I was like 13 years old. Because remember, whatever guy you were sexually attracted to, he now has social power over you. Because let's say you think this guy is super hot and he is, you see him at work or something, and you're kind of trying to get his attention. And then one day he says, oh my God, you're ugly. Like, oh, I'm not interested in you, like you. Or he tries to put you down somehow, or he tries to utilize his attractiveness in order to humble you. The only way he's able to do that is because you as the woman have put him on a pedestal. You have, in your mind, you have put him as higher up than other guys because of how he looks. So one strategy that I have used that has really helped me to not have that mindset is I take guys off the pedestal in general. So whether he's rich, whether he's white, whether he's tall, whether he has no kids, I don't care if you walk into the room and you meet all of my standards right off the bat. I'm not putting you on a pedestal. I am not going to idolize you. I'm not going to treat you like you're some sort of god. I'll just treat you like a normal human, like with a normal level of respect. But I'm not going to have all of these thoughts in my mind anymore of, I wonder what he thinks of me. I wonder what his type is. I wonder if I'm his type. I no longer even give my thoughts to a man for free. That was probably the most powerful thing I could do for my own self-esteem. And also, I would not have this YouTube channel if I did not decenter men. Like when I was more male-centered, I barely ever uploaded on YouTube because I wasn't thinking about YouTube. I was thinking about, XYZ hot guy that's taking me on a date and what am I going to wear? And, oh, I need to wear this outfit when I'm around him because then he's really going to be looking at me. I would center my thoughts around stuff like that, as opposed to centering my thoughts around how can I level up? What workout can I do today? How can I meal prep for myself so that I get in all of my nutrients? I'm trying to grow my hair out right now. I think I want to try bamboo leaf tea. I also want to try some green tea because that helps me to have a flat stomach. So now I have purposely directed my thoughts towards myself as opposed to constantly directing my thoughts and my energy towards a guy, especially a guy that you barely know, like a crush. When I think of a guy that you have a crush on, I think of a guy where you don't really know him super well, and maybe he doesn't know you super well. Maybe you guys just know 5 to 10 facts about each other and that's it. Or even worse, he doesn't even know you exist. And so I no longer think about guys and give them all of my energy, or waste my thoughts and waste the neurons in my brain, because I feel like I'm such a smart person. I'm not trying to say that I'm smarter than others or anything, but I feel like I'm so intelligent and I have so many other things that I can be figuring out. I feel like I'm so good at problem solving and being resourceful to where I could use my resourceful energy and my resourcefulness towards building myself up, building my life up, making myself more attractive, or making myself, making myself look how I want to look, as opposed to spending all of my thoughts on how good some guy looks. Like, no, I can spend my thoughts on, hey, what can I do to look better to myself in the mirror so that I think those thoughts about myself? Wow, I'm so beautiful. Wow, look at my abs. Look at my six pack. Look at my body. Wow, my body looks great. I'm so proud of myself. So, one thing that has really helped me was to begin centering my thoughts around myself and to stop having these crushes and, like giving a guy all of your thoughts and your time just because you find him attractive or just because he is an MLS man who is professional and like has money and has no kids. Like, okay, that's wonderful, but those three facts, that's not enough to make me take time out of my day, and instead of focusing on myself, now I'm focusing on you, and you're not even here, and you don't even know that I'm thinking about you. And in most cases, you don't even care, or you're thinking about other girls, you're thinking about porn, you're doing video games and porn. That's what you're focused on right now. You're trying to focus on getting to the next level in Halo. And I'm over here thinking about, how does his last name sound on mine? Like, no, it's delusional in my opinion. That is Delulu. But one way that I trained myself to do this was, so in the past, I remember I like had a crush on this one guy or whatever, like at work. So for those of you who are in the Discord and Patreon, you guys remember ex Workbay. And that was, I would consider that a crush because we had not, like, at that time, the guy had not asked me on a date yet or anything like that. It was more of like this flirty interaction. And so I was still on my decentering men journey at the time. And I wanted to cross over to where it's like, I'm not thinking about the outcomes. And so the way that I did it was I was like, okay, I'm going to let myself continue to have a crush on this guy for 2 more weeks. And then after those 2 weeks, if that guy does not like ask me on a date or like make a move, basically, I am going to get rid of this crush. And so the way that I would do it was I would give myself a time limit. And then basically I was training my brain to not just judge a guy based on his looks and money or whatever, but to judge myself or to judge him based on his behavior towards me. So it's like, if you're not even making a move on me or like asking me on a date or you're too scared or whatever, that's fine, but that just means that you would be a waste of time, so why should I waste my thoughts on you? So I gave myself a time limit. I was like, okay, I'm only going to have this crush for 2 more weeks. If he does not ask me out, then I will get rid of this crush. And the way that I will get rid of the crush is no more following each other on Instagram, basically blocking him or whatever, blocking his phone number or getting rid of him on Instagram. Or if he comes up to my cubicle, then like I will just be cordial and then basically be like, go away. As a matter of fact, I think I should make a story time about him. Maybe I'll make it on Patreon, not on YouTube. But that was a very powerful thing. And it's funny because that guy, ex Workbay, he actually did end up asking me on a date, but it was so late in the game, basically, to where I started to feel like, no. And also, it helped me to have more mental clarity as well. Because once I was in the process of getting rid of this crush and kind of like reminding myself, wait a minute, statistically speaking, he is most likely a porn addict. Statistically speaking, he is most likely, just playing video games and doesn't really do anything outside of work. And so that really helped me to think more clearly. And then the next time that guy would try to talk to me at work, I would specifically ask, what do you do outside of work? And sure enough, he would play video games. And this guy even admitted to being an addict to those types of websites and stuff like that. So I'm very glad that I mentally was already in the process of removing this thought pattern, because I already knew like, okay, my brain is going down the path of basically making up in my mind all of these additional good qualities about this guy that he statistically is likely to not have. And so anyway, those were just some of my decentering men strategies. What do you ladies think? Let me know in the comments section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.